ImAc platform has several tools. In this video, we'll give a generic description at user level of the Accessibility Content Manager, or ACM tool, which is used to manage the entire production workflow of Access services for immersive programs, that is, programs with 360-degree video. We'll start by accessing the ACM interfaces from a web browser. Access to these interfaces is restricted according to the user's permissions, so the first thing we have to do is to enter the username and password. The first interface that we will show you to get an idea of the scope of the ACM is the System Management Interface, which is used by the broadcaster for administrative, configuration, and maintenance issues. We click on the first tab to access User Management. Here we can see a list of the users who have access to the system. The characteristics of the list are common in all the ACM lists, such as filter, pagination, number of items per page, sort by column, shortcuts such as edit, and actions. If we click on New User, a form appears where we can enter the username and password, the data of interest such as email for notifications, and also to which profile the user belongs. In the event that the user is a producer of Access services, we will also indicate the type of producer, subtitler, audio describer, or signer, and the languages in which the producer works. This way, when the broadcaster requires the production of content for an Access service in a particular language, they have a list with the producers who can do it. We click on the second tab to access the Profile Management. The list of profiles has the same characteristics as the previous list of users, such as filter, sorting, direct access to edit, etc. If we select Edit, a form appears to introduce the permissions to the different sections of the ACM and to the folders that users of this profile can access. We can also delete or add new folders for the users of this profile. By clicking on the third tab, we can manage the available languages for the Access services. By clicking on the fourth tab, we can access the rest of the system settings, such as system variables and notifications, as well as the queues and status of the processes that run in the background. We will not go into detail in these sections since it's about the configuration of the system when it's installed. Finally, by clicking the fifth tab, we can access the events that happen in the system and allow us to follow up in case there's a problem. Neither will we go into the details of this section, since it's used for the maintenance of the tool. The next interface that we will show is the Content Management Interface, which is used by the broadcaster's Accessibility Department to manage the production of Access service files and their cataloging. As always, only users with the appropriate permissions will be able to access the interface. The first thing that we find is a grid of assets, in this case, assets found in the root folder or in any other folder. If we double-click on them, only the folders on which we have some permission are shown. We can click on the folder icon if instead of working with folders, we want to see all the assets over which we have permission, and use the filter to search by metadata. In our case, we will remain with the folder hierarchy, being able, if we have permission, to create, edit, or delete these folders. In the central part of the window, we find the assets, which can be shown in a grid or a list by processing the corresponding View button. An asset corresponds to a 360-degree program and contains all metadata and files related to the program. A new asset can be created automatically when the broadcaster's systems, such as their playlist and media asset management or MAM systems, make the request to produce Access services for a 360-degree program and make the low-quality 360-degree video available for such productions. If the ACM is not connected to the broadcaster's MAM, the user can create a new asset manually by pressing the New button, entering the metadata, and dragging the low-quality 360-degree video into the drag-and-drop box. On the selected assets, for multiple selection you have to press the Control key. You can perform operations such as copy, move to another folder, link, and delete. We can recover deleted assets from the bin. In each asset, we have a series of buttons to access the different types of metadata and files. So, by clicking on the info icon, we can see the asset metadata. Here, it's important to introduce the program ID that the broadcaster uses to identify the 360-degree program in such a way that when the 360-degree program is broadcasted or published, the broadcaster's playout can request all the access service files for that program from the ACM. By clicking on the video icon, we can modify the low-quality 360-degree video file, see its metadata, and preview it by keyframes or using the 360-degree video player. By clicking on the subtitle icon, we can see the subtitle files for the 360-degree program and preview the contents. We can also create a new file in another language or from another subtitle file. The color of the button tells us if there is a subtitle file associated to this asset. From here, the broadcaster assigns the task to produce the access service file to subtitlers that are registered to the ACM. Then the assigned subtitlers will receive a notification. By clicking on the audio description icon, we can do exactly the same as the subtitle section for the production of audio descriptions in different languages, but also the different types of audio descriptions such as classic, static, and dynamic, whose explanation is beyond the scope of this video. By clicking on the sign language icon, we can do the same in relation to the sign language access service. In the future, new types of access service may be added to the system. Later, we will return to this interface. The next interface of the ACM that we describe in this video is the editor interface, which is used by the access service producers, usually external service providers that produce subtitles, audio descriptions, and/or sign language files. Through this interface, producers can see the tasks that have been assigned to them. Therefore, external service providers are only allowed to access the interface of the ACM. When the producers enter this interface, they find a list of new or ongoing tasks assigned to them. If a previously completed task has been rejected by the broadcaster, the task will reappear in the list. Through the filter, the producers can also list the completed tasks in case they need more information about them. The list can also be filtered by word, type, language, and status. To start or continue a task, the only thing that the producer has to do is to click on the corresponding Edit button. And the editor associated with that type of task is automatically run. In this case, if we click on a subtitling task, the web subtitle editor is opened in a new window. If we click on an audio description task, the web audio description editor is opened. And if we click on a sign language task, the web sign language editor is opened. In this video, we will not explain the ImAc editors, which are also tools of the ImAc platform. These editors are fully integrated with the ACM to receive both the access service file and the low-quality 360-degree video that the broadcaster has made available on the ACM for the producers. The editors then automatically return the access service file that has been produced or edited to the corresponding asset in the ACM. Other editors will also be able to integrate with the ACM. Once producers finish the production, they will mark the task as completed in the editor interface. We return to the Content Management interface as a verifier user, usually from the Accessibility or Quality Assurance department of the broadcaster, to review and accept or reject the access service files received from the producers once they've marked the production task as completed. For this, it is best to view the interface as a file list instead of an asset grid. From here, we filter by completed files to have the list of the files to be verified. When we click on the icon of the file that we want to verify, the detail of the file with a preview of its contents appears on the right side of the screen. From here, we can press the Run Editor with File button. The editor is run with the low-quality 360-degree video and the Access Service file so that the verifier can preview the Access Service. Two situations are possible. First situation, the Access Service file is not correct. If the corrections are simple, the verifier can use the editor to make the necessary corrections themselves and save the changes. If the corrections have to be made by the producer, the verifier can reject the file from the Content Management interface by changing the status field to Rejected. The corresponding task reappears in the editor interface for the producer to make the necessary corrections. Second situation, the Access Service file is correct. In this case, from the Content Management interface, the verifier changes the status field to Verified. At this moment, the Access Service file is made available to the broadcaster's playout whenever the 360-degree program is broadcasted or published. The Content Management interface is also used by broadcasters to import and export Access Service files between different file formats. For example, in the audio description, we can import an audio track with just audio description. The ACM is also used to obtain statistics such as uses of Access Service, costs, etc. The ACM tools also perform some jobs in the background and is connected with other broadcaster systems or other tools of the ImAc platform. But in this video, we've focused on the user interfaces.